Hey, buddy. Hey, are you homeless? Yeah? You want some money? Nah, man. You just got pranked.
Hey, what is going on here? We are back with Paul. I just finished a fucking video. I have just uploaded it and he put one out himself. Alright, so AMS, American Musical Supply, finally explains why they did it. Alright, it's all come to a head. We now know. We'll know the truth. Do you think we'll actually get the truth here? Do you think we'll actually understand anything more than we did before? What is the concept of this video going to be, Paul? What is this like mental gymnastics that we're going to go through? Put on your leotard, put on your gym shorts, whatever you need to do, because we're about to get a mental workout.
I just watched a couple of YouTube videos, reaction videos of young people at least claiming that they're watching the events of 9/11 for the very first time.
I mean, look, I didn't see that coming, but this doesn't really this doesn't really underline on why American Musical Supply did what they did. But it might come. It might come through. Paul just has to do his preamble.
Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. 9/11 happened 24 years ago. I was 34 years old at the time.
You did the 9/11 anniversary thing. You've done your yearly anniversary 9/11 update. It's just not very timely. I don't find this very timely.
And I remember it just like every other American does.
I was up in the middle of the night talking to my friends on MSM. That was the Microsoft messaging system back in the day. But every time you get a like message, go and it was like every time you heard it, you come running into your room like, oh, what did my mate say about that chick I'm crushing on right now?
The thing I remember the most about it, of all the things we saw and experienced and thought and feared.
Oh yeah, I didn't finish my thought. Yeah, I was just like up in the middle of the night, dicking around like in high school, and yeah, it's like all kicked off. Oh, what was that forum I used to visit? I think it was NeoGAF, not NeoGAF. It was like the original Gaming Age forum, and everyone was like losing their shit at the time about it. And like Gaming Age back then was a lot more uncensored and liberal than it is now. So it was a whole bunch of interesting opinions, and yeah, it was just pure chaos, and no one really knew, because it started off as like, oh well, there's a fire in one of the tower number one, and no one really knew what was it about, and then there was reports of a plane actually hit it, and people were like, oh, is this like a little Cessna or something like that? No, it was a jumbo jet, and then it escalated. And then when number two hit, it was like, yeah, it was all out panic.
The thing I remember the most is exactly what I put in my video, what it feels like to be murdered. Number one.
You've done this. We've already had the 9/11 video, and you've already compared yourself to all the events around it. This is nothing new under the sun. If you're shocked, I do apologize, but for me, it's another day in the Pauliverse.
Shock and disbelief. At the time of 9/11, I was in shock and I was in disbelief. This can't really be happening. In fact, when I saw the newspaper headline, which is where I first learned about it, because I was working on writing a book at the time, my third book.
No one can. I think he said he published it. He got it published, or he maybe self-published, but it's just lost to time. I think it's in California storage. Like, it must be drafts.
And someone came up and threw this newspaper on the table where I was working in a coffee shop, at the table there. And I thought it was a lie. In fact, I went over to the person and I said, the newspaper's going to sue whoever created this thing. This is, and they said, no, this really happened. Where have you been? And I couldn't believe it. And I had to scramble to go see what happened after the towers had fallen. Fast forward 23 years to when some little girl who may not have even been born by that time.
He's been calling her person and individual lately. Like, I don't know why he reverted to this. But he's been calling her individual or this person, and now he's back to this little girl. I don't know why he was doing that, but now it's obviously he's reverted back to this little girl, this baby child, barely sentient.
Human resource officer in Eden Prairie becomes the perpetrator of my 9/11, and she does so willfully. Terrorists walk around with masks covering their head, so you don't know who they are. The people in New Jersey who did this to me never even identified themselves. They gave me this stack of paper, this separation agreement, severance agreement, told me to sign it, take a little hush money, a little blood money.
We may not learn anything new. This is a retread of a retread of a retread of a retread.
If I don't tell the world what they did to their homeless employee. At the bottom of that thing, at the end, there's a bunch of lines.
I don't know that he claims this, but what he it was a million videos ago. In one of his earlier videos, he goes, if I unknowingly accept it, so they just like deposited this bit of hush money into his account. He goes, if it has happened, I want to know how I can send it back, how I can like redistribute the money back to the sender. So he wasn't even sure if he received it or not.
Any of that blood or hush money was already paid to me. Either tell me how to get it back to you or have New Jersey take it back. Like Jesus said to Judas Iscariot, what you are about to do quickly.
Lines for me to sign my name and put the date, but their names weren't there. I'd like for you to try to imagine if you experienced 9/11. Try to imagine that after 9/11, President George Bush, every member of Congress, the Justice Department, the military, the Supreme Court, everyone who runs the show just behaved like it was any other day. And they never even once, ever, even looked at Osama bin Laden funny, let alone investigated anything or did something about it to bring the perpetrators to justice. How would the people affected by 9/11 feel? The people in Manhattan who were standing below the building as it starts falling and dropping, hundreds of thousands of tons of debris on their heads. And they think,
So let's pass this out. So the impact of being in one of these buildings, fire blazing all around you, windows exploding, smoke choking you, it's harsh, thick smoke. You get to a window that's been blown out, and everything is boiling hot around you. You can't get your senses. Everything is crazy. You know you can't go downstairs. It's all cut off. You're choking on the smoke. You can barely think straight, and then you're looking out the window, looking down at your life, and you can't really make sense of it, and you don't know why. And then you jump, and you fall, and it's horrific. It's unbelievably surreal, and your life flashes before your eyes. Hopefully they were all good memories, and then you hit the ground. All right, think of the impact of that in those final moments. And now let's contrast it against Paul's point is, I worked a menial call center job where I was engaging in harassing practices and sexual misconduct, and it's proven. He won't say it, but I will. And you're fired with absolute just cause. No matter what you say, Paul. You know why you were fired. You just won't ever say it. To him, the impact would be the same. Those terrifying moments of jumping off a building, being burnt, being, choked by thick black smoke. It's the same in Paul's mind. And he wants you to get on board with that. He wants you to believe that.
to carry that trauma the rest of their life. How would they feel if they went the last 24 years where nobody did anything about it? Nobody even cared. Nobody even acknowledged that a crime had been committed. That is exactly how I felt the last year. I am in as much shock and disbelief as I was the day they fired me, because I did nothing that should have caused my termination.
Oh, Paul, it's just endless rumination over this, and he's not doing anything to get past this. He's just stuck in a cycle of trauma.
Nothing. Quite the opposite. I was attacked. This was a hate crime. The same thing you saw on 9/11.
And it's well past the Ides of March now, so he missed the chance to do the anniversary video. I don't know why he missed that chance.
But in the last year, nobody, Eden Prairie Police, Minnesota authorities, New Jersey authorities, federal authorities, nobody will do anything about it. They won't even acknowledge that a crime occurred. They say it's a civil matter, but you know.
You never made the case. You made the case to people who just didn't understand what you wanted out of them. And it wasn't anything to do with how the law is enforced, it's how the law is interpreted, and he wanted them to interpret the law the way he saw it, related to his case. So you need to bend the law around this and twist it and turn it through this, maze of pipes, and then you will come out on my point of view.
You know what? Murder does not have to come from somebody shooting you or stabbing you.
Yeah, so he does. This is what no one really understands, but he'll make this point now. But I think I said in another video, is maybe denote the fact that I am being professionally murdered. My professional life, my career prospects have been murdered. That would be a little easier to swallow.
Poisoning you. People can come up with creative ways to kill, such as hijacking airplanes and flying them into buildings so that thousands of people die. And their wives and their husbands and their parents and their children and the people who love them and their friends have to.
But he kind of wants you to believe that he is dying through attrition. He's dying through 1,000 cuts. This is all going to lead to his death. Thus, it all comes back to AMS. but there's like, what is that middle ground where if I'm being about to be pushed off a cliff and I can see the perpetrator coming, am I going to try dodge? Or am I going to like go, oh, I don't know, I guess I can't do anything about it. It is what it is.
Go the rest of their life with that image in their mind for the rest of their lives. Imagine if all those people 24 years later had gone those 24 years later without any person, not one person in the entire American government ever even acknowledging that something bad happened on September 11, 2001. And then you'll know how I feel. These people took absolutely everything from me. When you watch those Twin Towers fall, and all there is a plume of smoke and dust with papers, the documents of people's lives just floating like dust in the wind. That was a complete, total, utter annihilation of the Twin Towers. There was nothing left. Nothing. That's what American Musical Supply did to my life and my family line.
All right, you need to get on with it, Paul. So they explain why they did this. Did they email you? Did they get? They did say something on Twitter once, and because someone was like kind of trolling them to get them to say something about it, and they just said, "Oh, you know, regretfully, we have reached out to Paul numerous times, and you know, he won't accept the olive branch. He won't do anything to help himself, and we've done all we can, and we're moving on." But in Paul's mind, it's like, well, why would I accept help from my Jeffrey Dahmer cannibal, you know, sexual deviant predator murderer? Why would I do that?
Nothing is left. But unlike 9/11, the forces of justice, the military power, the police power in Eden Prairie, that shameful community, Minnesota, a shameful state, none of these people have gone after the perpetrators who did that to my existence. How would those people feel 24 years later if no one had ever even asked the question, who did this? What happened? Why were there 2 skyscrapers here yesterday and they're not there today?
This is a clickbait, I guess. We got clickbaited, guys.
Can you imagine if you walked through the world having experienced that and having had your life threatened by that, and the whole time for 24 years, nobody even asks any of these questions. Nobody cares. They look at you funny. Why are you bothered by this? Just start over. What American Musical Supply did to me.
Yeah, I guess, to my understanding, is he doesn't want to start over again because it'll just happen again, like something to that effect. He'll start building up all these resources again. He'll always of course, he'll start spinning his wheels and spinning it on random music equipment and like just 3D render assets and creator tools. Watch my new video just about to come out. You'll see like how much money he was like plugging into this shit when it was secretly all kind of free, but I guess Paul didn't want to break the law.
Is among the worst things that have ever been done to a human being ever.
Ever?
That here.
Forever?
I've documented
Ever?
the intent to do this to me. Nobody does a thing about it. After I watched those videos, the YouTube recommendations came up, and I looked on there, and what do you know? What do you know? Talk about serendipity.
All right, here we go. Drum roll, guys. This is it. This is it.
There's a video of someone apparently from Human Resource Department in New Jersey at American Musical Supply finally publicly explaining themselves.
For real? Or is it just like a general like overview of HR, New Jersey HR in AMS, like what they do, how they do it, why they do it, what their job description is, what is that day in their life? All right, here we
Explaining
go.
why they did this to a good man who wanted to help everybody and hurt nobody. A good man who worked for 7 years, overtime, walking to work, doing whatever was needed to do the best job there and to work his way out of home.
If this is some bullshit skit he's doing, consider myself like pranked, bro.
In a position of strength without taking any assistance from the government. And they obliterate the whole thing. I've been waiting for an explanation for that for 1 year. And what do you know? There it is right there. Let's see if you can make sense out of this explanation any more than I could.
Today is March 13th, and I have another message from the aliens. I'm an interdimensional communicator, which means I can talk to angels and aliens and other interdimensional beings.
We got clickbaited, boys. We got pranked.
Today I have a message from the entire Galactic Federation channeling as one collective. And as usual, they sent me the message telepathically. I converted it into words on my iPad. I checked in with them to make sure they agreed with my translation, and now it's ready for you. And the message is short, but it's specific, so buckle up. Here's what they have for us today. This weekend will be known as our arrival. We've been in position for some time, and now the conditions are right for us to become fully visible in the sky. In less than 48 hours, there will be...
And people, and this is like a weird disconnect in... Is he getting a laugh out? So he's done the preamble, and it's as serious as 9/11, and then he cuts to this. And then he's like, why doesn't anyone take me seriously?
Reports of our motherships in the global news. We remind you once again, we are not invading or attacking. If we wanted to harm you or steal your resources, we would have done that long ago before you did so much damage to the planet. We are arriving now not to solve your problems, but to assist you in solving your own global, national, and regional problems. We are arriving now not to give you the answers, but to teach you how to find the answers inside you by remembering and calling upon your own inner divinity. We are arriving now because humanity and planet Earth are sending together. We are arriving now this coming weekend in love. So that was their message for today. Just 48 hours to go till we see motherships in the news, in the skies, in the socials. They did tell me 2 of the cities that they plan to reveal their motherships in first, but I'm not going to share them with you right now anyway.
I mean, is this like just a parody account or a satire account? Where is Paul even picking up on the joke?
Because they told me they do not want people flocking to or from these cities. They just want life to go on as normal as it can until it can't for a little while. So I will say, though, that I'm traveling to one of those cities this weekend. So will I be able to go live from the view of the mothership? We'll find out this weekend.
Now I have to issue a disclaimer here. I do not
That it's all bullshit, and it was like you're trying to be funny here. You're trying to inject a bit of levity.
absolutely, positively know for certain that that was a representative of American Musical Supply.
Oh, see, oh, Paul, what do you do? Like, so you're. I mean, look, I'm not going to take it too seriously, but like, why are you intentionally misrepresenting your situation? Like, why are you just making a joke out of it? Like, are you serious? Are you not serious? Is this serious? What is the point? What is the point?
But they've never revealed their identities to me. How can I say that it is not? I have no way to know. What I do know is that I appreciate getting a response that is much more coherent and rational and humane than the response I've gotten from American Musical Supply over the last year. Although I have to admit, even after all that response they just gave, I still have no idea why they did to me.
You wouldn't accept it anyway, Paul. Like, even if they came out and like detailed it point by point by point by point, you wouldn't accept it. There's no way you'd accept it.
What Osama bin Laden did to America on September 11th.
All right, absolute trash video, complete clickbait, gotcha bro moment. I was kind of like hopeful though there was something out there, like someone just like was trolling them and harassing them all the time about this one issue on Twitter or something, on Instagram, wherever the hell it was, and they're just like, finally, all right, we'll spill the beans about the Paul situation. All right, maybe that's my new. That'll be my new task, maybe to start engaging and maybe getting some response from someone high up in that company. Something, anything. If you were watching this video thinking you were going to get any major reveal, yeah, Paul has a guitar to sell you then. at a very high price. Unlike the many people who chose to jump to the live, I cannot commit suicide. He cannot because he's got a religious pact where he's just like, it's against his religion. So I've turned into this perpetual agony. Why was he calling suicide hotlines then? He was wasting suicide hotline. Like he would call into these hotlines and just like talk their ear off, but he had no intention. Only for more than a year and counting, have no purpose to make son and waiting to die. Well, you have a purpose to make clickbait fucking shit videos. Finally happens. Even many of some victims enjoy a quicker death, less pain and suffering, and more mercy than American Musical Supply granted me. Click the link in the video description to watch Americans in their early 20s. Whatever, no. They know absolutely nothing about the world they live in. So what is... I guess you had to be there, I suppose, in Paul's mind. And one of those young people from that generation felt knowledgeable and far enough to destroy the life of a 50s. I mean, I don't know how old she was at the time he was fired. She was early 20s, so it's possible she was a baby at the time. And American Musical Supply supported her, rather than defending me, against the self-absorbed child. Alright, so he's back to calling her a baby, child, woman, fetus. Yeah, terrible video, but, you know, we got suckered. We hit the clickbait. Yeah, I've just put out a new video. It's a secret channel full of various animations and young Disney anime females in these videos being posed and articulated and moved around and put into sexy poses. Anyway, you won't want to miss that one. Alright guys, trash video, do apologize, but it is Paul after all. He had me for a moment.